Thank you, Judy, and thank you to the leadership team, Sandy, Judy, Michelle, and Pat, for pulling this evening's session together. I am sure it will be very interesting. It will give us time as a meditation community in the Caribbean and further afield to reflect together on our journey together with the gift of meditation. Our theme, contemplating the earth and mental health. Two things that have been very much in the forefront of news, both local and international. A couple of weeks ago, my sister arrived from Canada. When a loved one arrives, the first thing you probably see is a smile. But there was a mask. There was distance and a strange feeling that something was missing. I was connected and I was disconnected. There is no doubt that our new normal is not normal, and that the pressures and restrictions have caused a shift in our lives, our way of thinking, our way of relating. This shift could affect us in various ways. Positively, it could make us more appreciative of the connection we have with others, the extra effort we have to make to care and be concerned about others and the environment, and it helps us not to take life and love for granted. However, the shift can also make us indifferent. It can make us isolated, confused, anxious, fearful, and forever thinking, when will all this end? This latter shift can affect our mental health, and we can see the effects in loneliness, lack of trust, isolation, anxiety, and depression among the old and the young. And when we contemplate the earth, that earth, our planet, our home, which we share with all creation, we also see a disconnect. Because if we were really connected, we would not destroy our environment. We would not pollute our seas, burn and destroy our forests, throw garbage and plastic in our rivers, produce carbons to heat the earth and melt the ice caps. God gave us the earth to care for it and to till it. And what have we done? And so now, when we contemplate the earth, what do we see? What do we hear? Floods, earthquakes, forest fires, volcanic eruptions, sea levels rising, Arctic melting. Nature, animals, and humans are destroyed. There is an urgency now to turn the clock back. And sometimes this creates more fear and anxiety. COP26 tells us there is not much time left. And so how do we as human beings find our way through all this? How do we reconnect with ourselves, with others, with our Creator, with nature? I was very interested in a BBC program in which there was an explanation of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, the big thing now. A new or maybe not so new method of psychiatry, which moves away from giving people pills and for fear and anxiety and phobias, and an approach which gets them talking with the psychiatrist and going through and re-emphasizing positive thoughts about themselves, about the world, about the relationships, getting them to give their attention and care to others, and putting aside negative thoughts and actions. I was waiting them to say meditation, but they didn't. And I thought of one of our local cardiologists who tells his patients, before I give you medication, I want you to try meditation. And many of them have benefited from this advice. We, like most animals, are social beings. We see how animals care and protect one another and their young. When we reconnect to our inner nature, we know that there's a part of us deep inside that wants peace, that wants to care, and that wants to protect. And often in our busy lives, we forget that the source of nature, the God who created everything and everyone, is not only around us, but in our very hearts with his presence. Christ made this very clear when in the Gospel of John, he said that he would send the advocate. And when that happened, we would understand that he was in the Father, and the Father in him, and he in us. He was in the Father, and the Father in him, and he in us. And this is where our meditation becomes a path to reconnection. Reconnection with ourselves, with others, with our God. As we sit morning and evening for our silent encounter with God's presence in our hearts, there is a quiet transformation that takes place in our whole being, and our whole being reconnects. Our priorities change. Our relationships become more gentle. We cope more calmly with the ups and downs of life. We are less anxious and depressed and more positive as we begin to live life at a different level. All of us who have begun this journey know that we become more kind, more calm, more caring. We reconnect. And so in the season of Advent, which reminds us that through the ups and downs of COVID restrictions and anxieties, there is hope, and there is a promise that God will renew the face of the earth through us human beings. And so we journey together. I pray that we will always be grateful for the gift of meditation, that we would grow in love as a community who cares, and that we help others to make this reconnection with themselves, with others, with God, through our practice of meditation. And now I need to make a special announcement, a new connection, which Judy has already alluded to. On the 20th of November this year, Father Lawrence Freeman, Director of the World Community International, appointed Sandy Bengochea as coordinator of WCCM Trinidad and Tobago. She will not now take over from me in all that concerns TNT. I will remain regional coordinator, and with Michelle, continue journeying as active coordinator for the Oblates. I wish to congratulate Sandy and thank her for taking on this role. I ask that we give her our full and prayerful support. Congratulations, Sandy, and God's blessings. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. And
now Sandy has asked me to introduce Judy. Can I go ahead with Bonbo? Yeah. In 2018, I was privileged to be in France at the guiding board meeting, which is the board of directors meeting. And after that session, I stayed for about 5 weeks in France helping to set up what was a very new community in the Bonvo Abbey, which was just bought. And it was the first time that the groups were coming together. And on that Easter Sunday night, Father Lawrence called me and said to me, I am going to Singapore tomorrow, and I'm leaving you in charge of the community. And I said to him, well, I hope you find them when you come back. Bonvo has been a major experience in my life. And I have asked in next year to do a sabbatical, because I feel after all my years of active life, I feel it is important for me to center my own self more in the practice of meditation, away from the busyness of my life. So I will be going to Bonvo for 3 months next year, April, May, and June. And hopefully when I come back, you will see the halo. I am looking forward to it. It's going to, I hope I get there with all the viruses mutating. I don't know, I might mutate as well, but we see what happens. When I go there, I would like to take a contribution from the Caribbean to Bonvo. And I thought it, Michelle and Sandy thought it was a good idea for us to use this opportunity to show you a little bit about Bonvo and what has happened there. The Abbey, the main building, is where the oblates and special visitors live together in community. There's also what they call a workaway program, where young people go up there. They are provided with board and lodge, and they work for 6 hours, either in the farm or in the Abbey or in administration, whatever their talents are. And they have just finished, or is about to finish, the guest house, which will accommodate people for retreats, and also a contemplative village, which will also be open to all the meditators in the world. So we are looking forward, as Sandy said, we better start selling cake sales, because I think sometime in the next 2 years, we would really like to organize a group from the Caribbean to visit Bonvo and to experience the beauty and the peace that Bonvo brings.